Hi everyone, I am Ishaan and I have a confession to make to all of you. And the confession is I, growing up, used to be the most shy, under and nerdy student that you'll ever see. Right? As you'll see in these pictures, this is who I used to look like. This is literally the guy I was. And you know what happened is, it is almost impossible if you will look at this person and who I am today. Not even in the wildest dreams you would imagine that Ishan would make over 1,000 videos on YouTube, amassing over 160 million views, and would speak at 23 college events in the last 1 year, speaking to thousands of students. Right? How many of you relate to that first Ishan that I've just shown you here? How many of you were shy in school, in college? Right? So, what happened is, I want to share with you three stories which give you a perspective of how I changed myself. Right? Just simple three stories, and that will help you connect with my story better. Right? Let's get started. So, the first story is that of the IITian dream. Right? I'm sure a lot of you will relate with this. I was sold onto this dream of IIT is the best thing that you can do when you are getting into college, right? It was a dream I was sold to by the media, by the newspaper headlines, by my parents, and by the coaching institutes. It was like the end all be all, right? I did not know what I would do if it was not about going to the IITs, right? So I used to think about that. What can I do, right? So my dream was to get into the IITs. I worked really hard for it. There's a picture of me going to the college, going to the coaching centers, working extremely hard, trying to understand all the topics, and trying to make sure that I get into the IIT, which I was sold to as the best thing you can do in your life, right? I tried really hard. And this is 27th of May 2019. That's when the JEE Advanced exam happened. JEE Mains I was able to clear. JEE Advanced was the really interesting story. I was nervous. I did not want to let my parents down. I did not want to let my teachers down, right? And I was so focused on that as soon as the exam hall I entered into it, and as soon as I started the paper, I panicked, right? I was not able to understand how can I, solve the questions in the best amount of time possible. And so what happened as a result of that was I spent a lot of time on the hard questions and spent little time on the easier, simpler questions that I could complete in less amount of time. When I came out of the exam hall, I knew I had spoiled the whole exam, right? You just sometimes have that feeling. You know that you've not made it, right? And so I had that feeling with me. That night, when I was going to my home, I just made a decision that this is it. This has to be the end of this chapter of running after the best college. I need to start the next journey. I need to start the next level. After watching the YouTube videos of Aman Dattarwal and other people like Beer Biceps, I too wanted to explore other sides, which was not just limited to college, right? And that's what I started with. Now, what happened then is, I also gave the BITSAT exam because my parents told me it's a good idea to do that as well. I gave this exam and I somehow got selected, right? I got BITS Pilani Goa campus, I got electrical engineering, and there I was, 30th of July 2019, in a college I did not want to go for, doing a degree that I did not like. I really wanted to become that software developer and get that newspaper headline, 3 crore IIT package from IIT Roorkee in some company like Uber or Google or whatever that you can imagine, right? I wanted that, and I was here. I did not like the college, I did not like my degree, and on top of that, the fees was so high that my parents would have to pay from their own savings for it. And I felt embarrassed. I felt disappointed in myself. And I decided that I want to fix this state of mine. I wanted to focus on doing something so that when I introduce myself, I never have to say कि मैं इस college से हूँ. Right? Many people say this thing, right? कि I am XYZ from an IIT, from this Harvard, from whatever college that might be. I made a decision that I, for the next 4 years, will focus on something that will make me stand out from everyone else out there. Right? There are 15 lakh engineers graduating every single year. I wanted to be different. So I once went to this hackathon in my own college where I had to explain what I had just built in 24 hours. Right? So I built something with my roommate who is Saransh, and when it came for me to show what I had built in front of 10 judges, I panicked. Straight, I had that stage fright. Right? I could not explain what I had just built. Even though I was good at building, I was not the best at explaining what I had built. That night, when I was in my hostel room, I was pondering on this thing. What is the point of me being the best developer out there if I cannot sell an idea, if I cannot pitch what I have just built, right? If I cannot communicate effectively? I had seen that people who are in third year, fourth year of college were had great skills of developing software, but just did not know how to communicate, right, in the clubs and societies that I was a part of. And I made that my North Star, that for better or for worse, I will focus on my soft skills more than what everyone else does at my college. The only way to do that, in my experience, because I had few friends, was to start a YouTube channel, was to make YouTube videos, and I realized that there are some very interesting people in my college that I want to interview. And hence, my channel was born. It was basically the idea to interview people who are achieving great things as a student and share their learnings on social media, right? So that people can have the awareness, right? I think that what separates the IITs from the tier 3, tier 4 colleges is not the name, it's more so the access to opportunities that you get, right? And if I can democratize that opportunity for everyone through my YouTube channel, if people can know that, okay, in second year you can go for a research internship in Harvard if you know who are the right people to contact, who are the right professors to contact, then maybe I can make a difference. And at the same time, I'll be able to improve my communication skills. What happened afterwards was the pandemic, right? I was making videos consistently, and then the pandemic happened. I had to come back to my home, and that opened up a lot of free time. I was uploading videos on YouTube, improving my communication skills, connecting with new people. I was doing internships. I was starting some side hustles of my own. Just to give you some examples, right? This is essentially what I was doing in the whole of 2020, just sitting in front of a screen and just working every single day, right? I tried to open something called as Pod Infinity. Now, Pod Infinity was a simple podcast mentorship site where I would help people learn about podcasting, right? I ran it for about 1.5 months, made about 9,000 rupees from it. It was not the money that mattered to me, but more so the learnings I was having, right? I learned so much about how do you cold call people, how do you sell some course to people, how do you create a need in someone's mind, how do you persuade someone, how do you accept a payment with the Razorpay gateway, right? All of these little things I learned while I was building this. I worked as an intern at this startup called as Codedam, which was a Bitcoin startup started by my senior Mehul Mohan. And I learned about how do Facebook ads work. I learned about how do you pitch to VCs. I learned about how influencer marketing works and so much more, right? I did not focus on the money that mattered. I just focused on being the best learner out there. How can I absorb the most learning from this opportunity of mine? I wrote a book called as Crush It on LinkedIn, which was bought by over 6,000 people. I published this as a gift to myself. 13 July is my birthday. 12 July I made this live on Amazon. I wanted to make a practical guide for people who want to learn about creating opportunities through LinkedIn as a student, right? Just a simple 90-page book, no fluff, straight to the point. And that's what I did with the book. This is 17 July, a very pivotal moment in my whole life. From the starting of my YouTube journey, I wanted to share opportunities. I wanted to create awareness, right? What happened here is my channel got monetized. Now I had a dream of making it as a software developer and making that 12 lakh per year job, right? That is what I wanted to do. And here I was making $1 on 17th of July 2020, right? As you can see, July of 2020 I made total $20. But I was really amazed by this idea of making money online. I could be sitting in my room in Pune, making videos, and people are getting impacted through that, and I can make a living doing so. And this idea was baffling to me, right? I never knew that this would be possible for me. What happened next is I shifted to Pune. I started going all in with YouTube, and I used to have a very hectic schedule, right? I'll explain to you what happened. So I started teaching code on this platform called as an academy. I took over 350 classes. I taught about Python and full stack development and machine learning. I taught students how can you use Python to build simple programs like tic-tac-toe game and other games like that, right? It was an amazing journey because I learned how do I make a complex topic into a very simple, explainable topic, right? I did that. It taught me a lot about how to communicate, how to make things simpler. I had a very, interesting experience with a day in the life. I was inspired by Elon Musk and his crazy schedule. So I used to wake up in the morning. I used to make a video for this company called as Able Jobs on their YouTube channel. Used to edit that, submit it to them. I used to make my own video, edit that, upload it on YouTube. I used to then prepare myself for the live session I was doing on Unacademy to teach code to students. And then I used to rest my day, right? This is a very hectic day, right? If you're a video editor, you would know exactly what I'm talking about, how much time it takes to edit a video. And this is an agency I started in 2021 called as MarketUp. It's a social media agency in which we help companies grow organically on social media, mainly YouTube and Instagram. I was able to build a team of 25 people, completely remote. People are from Kolkata, from Lucknow, from Ahmedabad, from Mumbai, from Delhi. They're all working together to achieve a goal, right? And that was the most fulfilling part of my whole experience so far. We went on an off-site to Ooty, which is near Bangalore, and this is a photo from there. I also hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube in 2021, right? May of 2021. The dream became even bigger. It became even real, more real for me, right? Let's keep going. The third story I want to share with you is that of the dropout, right? So what happened with me is, so far I was making videos, I was building my business, I was all doing it in the pandemic mode. I used to attend some lectures, and then the rest of the time I used to focus on my own work, which was to edit videos, to grow my agency, to make better content and spread awareness. What happened is, the pandemic ended, and March of 2022, they called us back. This is me going from Pune to Goa. Now, something interesting happened in the hostel life, right? When I was living in the campus, I realized that I had outgrown everyone around me, while others were having problems like, how do I get an internship? How do I get a PPO? How do I, solve the assignments that my professor has given me? My problems were entirely different. I was thinking about how can I grow my agency? How can I make better content? How can I hire better people, right? And that is all I could think about. What happened next was 27th March, I took that brave decision that it's not going to work out. I don't want to be in an environment which limits my potential. I realized that I asked a lot of people, right? On alumni, I asked influencers, people we already know names of. I was asking them, should I drop out of my college? And most of them said, you should not, right? It's a bad idea of college. Why do you want to do that? Just spend one more year, I was in third year back then, and get your degree, and then do whatever you want to. I realized that it took me 6 months from January of 2020 to July of 2020, 6 to 7 months to get to 1,000 subscribers. And at that point, I was getting 1,000 subscribers every single day, right? The growth had compounded while I was working on it every single day. I do not want to let go of this growth. I want to focus on it. I want to go full time on it, is what I decided. Posted the story on Instagram saying I have dropped out, made a video about my decision, and people loved it. That's my father. He was the most proud person when I dropped out. And recently I asked him this question, why were you so happy? How are you so accepting of what I wanted to do? Something that most fathers would be angry over, would not accept. How were you okay with it? And he replied saying that I've seen you build your work ethic. For the last 2 years, you've been at the house, you've been working every single day, getting things done, and I saw that passion in you. And I was like, if you are so passionate in this, you should continue with it, right? So that's what happened over there. I came to Bangalore. I started meeting more people. I found my vibe around me, right? So I went here, attended hackathons, I was meeting business people, I was meeting startup founders, I was meeting VCs, attending events, and all of that compounded my learning, right? I recently got a house for MarketUp, which is my agency, which is the most interesting part of being in Bangalore. I was able to bring everyone together in one place so that we can work together and build something even bigger, right? That's a picture from me when I first got the house. I also published this book called as Unlocking Unicorn Secrets. This book was co-authored with my friend Kushal Lodha, and the entire idea of the book was to interview India's top founders, people who've built billion-dollar companies, try to understand what got them here, right? From their childhood to their college time, to finding their first co-founder, to finding their funding, to building a billion-dollar company right out of India, right? The book became a bestseller in less than 3 hours on Amazon, which is amazing. I never expected that to happen. I also hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube on the 1st of September last month itself, and all of this sounds too good to be true for Ishaan, who was a shy, underconfident kid who all he knew was to study, right? From that to here, all it took were these 3 stories and about 3 years of, constantly figuring out my life, right? The lesson I want to leave you all with today is this. Sometimes the things that you want the most in your life are the best things that never happen to you. I wanted to be an IITian. I wanted to be a software developer. I wanted to make something good come out of with that girl. Never happened, right? So this is the biggest realization I had. The things you want the most in life are sometimes the best things that never happened with you, because that will then enable you to take the road less traveled, and you'll figure out and you'll find your own path. That's it from me today. Thank you so much, everyone.